Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Kanawha Valley on Sunday, February 5th. We will begin our service with the ringing of the bell and the lighting of the Christ candle. So we ring this bell and we light this candle as a reminder of the Christ light that shines in each and every one of us. You'll find our opening statement on the inside of your bulletin. And if you would, repeat that with me. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And sit with that truth for just a moment. Allow it to anchor into your heart. And now repeat it with me once more. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent. And so it is. Our songs this morning are led by Doug and accompanied by Jeff.
Please stand for Surely the Presence. All right, we're going to do 122. In 165, God is love.
What a great start to our month of love. We're so happy you're with us here today at Unity Kanawha Valley, whether you're here in person or on Zoom or even watching at a different time. We really appreciate you sharing your energy with us. For announcements, this Friday at 7:30, Ron Soul's open mic will take place. This will be down in the activity room. The performer sign-up starts at 7. If you are a senior, a kid, or a performer, the admission is $2. If you just want to come and tap your foot, that is a $5 admission. But it's a great place to, if you have any talent whatsoever that you think you'd like to share, it's a warm, welcoming group of people that would love to see you on stage. We are still collecting luggage and backpacks for the Davis Children's Center. If you will get those items here to the church, Dewey Lester will take them to the shelter for us. If you wish to support Sojourner Shelter, they are requesting deodorants, new towels, new washcloths, baby wipes, and size 3 or larger in diapers. And we have a barrel at the end of the bottom of the steps here in the activity room. If you will place those items there, Pam gets them to Sojourner Shelter. We are a tithing church. 10% of everything we take in goes out to bless others. And in February, our tithe will go to Hospice Care of West Virginia, and that is in memory and honor of Bob Smith. And yesterday, we had an amazing time at our soup sale. And we just want to say a big thank you to everybody who brought soup, to everybody who volunteered, to the people who baked bread, and the people who made any kind of goodies that we had here. With everyone working together, we raised over $800. Now, I'm not done yet. When we deduct our expenses, that is still $600 to go toward paying down our mortgage. Now we need to really cheer, yeah. So we are so grateful to everyone who participated. Even if you just came out to eat a bowl of soup, that helped. Every little bit helps. So I love being part of this community. I hope you do too. And so grateful to be back at the soup sale after not having it due to the pandemic. And that's all I have. So I'm going to turn it over to Sky.
Good morning, welcome, bienvenidos, shalom, namaste, aloha, and buongiorno to our member in Italy. The light in me greets the light in you. My name is Sky Kirshner. I want to welcome you for being here at Unity Kanawha Valley Live and online. Thank you for being with us from wherever you are. There will be a Sunday morning after party with this new fabulous iPad that Pete Sternloff donated. So let's hear it for Pete. And the after party takes place in the Sunday school room. The discussion there is amazing. So if you'd like to have a discussion about something that happened or a thought that you had or a feeling you had during the service, feel free to come and join us for that. Many of the same people show up on the Thursday night Zoom book club. We're doing the final chapter of Richard Rohr's book, Breathing Underwater. We're doing step 12 of the 12 steps of the 12-step programs. The mission of Unity of Kanawha Valley is to help create and support our welcoming community that values love, acceptance, and spiritual exploration based on unity principles. If you're here or watching for the first time, I want to say welcome to you. Here at Unity, we celebrate our being alive together. Each of us is worthy of dignity and respect with no exceptions. We affirm our diversity. We recognize that each of us is on our own unique journey and that we are here to support each other in our uniqueness. It's my hope that you will know that you are welcome here just as you are, that you are free to be yourself, and that you are invited to explore some ideas that might be useful in your life. I invite you to take what works for you and to leave the rest. Today, we will be looking at love. It's the beginning of the month of love. Let's hear it for love. Woo! If you want to know more about Unity, check us out online. And if you've been attending and you'd like to consider becoming a friend or member, please let me know. Prayer is a central part of what we're about here, so let's do that right now. Would you soften your gaze? Close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Let a smile come to your lips and notice how that feels. And would you say silently to yourself, I am open to the love that is all around me right now. I am open to the love that is all around me right now. And if you would, let a person in your life come to mind. Imagine that you are standing in front of that person. Look them in the eye, and regardless of your relationship, see if you can let gratitude for them fill your heart. And since this is a world of love, regardless of the quality of a relationship, you might consider saying to them, thank you for loving me today. All right, so if you would, give yourself a nice big stretch and a nice big yawn, and would you stand up, please? And let's go on one foot. It doesn't matter which foot, but let's just Mary had a little lamb. We don't want anyone falling this year. Let's go back to the other foot. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find someone next to you, especially if someone's sitting alone, and say to them, thank you for being with me on this journey. I want to thank everyone who's here today. Your being here today is part of the world that we're creating. Every small thing you do makes a difference in your life and in the life of those around you. I want to thank the universe, God, the source of all life and love, for another day on this amazing journey. And I want to thank everyone who's made this service possible, including our guest singer, Doug Imbrogno. Let's hear it for Doug. And for Janet, our maestress of ceremony. Janet, right? Good, I got the name right. Okay, good. And I want to thank everybody who came out for the, are we going to do that? Is that working? For the soup sale. I think it's going to come up. There we go. All right. Gosh, what's going on here? Continue. No, don't. All right. There we go. We had a fabulous time. Lots of people came for the soup. I want to acknowledge Pam, who's wearing her tribal colors. Go Eagles. Eagles made it to the Super Bowl. That's next week, right? And the soup sale takes more time to set up and take down than it actually does to have the sale. So, and for Sally, Sally's not here. So she's resting at home from everything it took for that. I want to thank Marissa, whose soup was the first to sell out. So thank you, Marissa. Southwest Chicken, spicy, apparently fantastic. Carol Proud. I called over at 11 o'clock to see how it was going, and Pam said, what am I missing? She wins the prize. That's the prize right there that she wins. A hearty round of applause. And Carol Proud, who's, you can see her beans there. She had put beans in a mason jar, and those flew out. I think Danny bought like 10 of them or something, but hers were done before she sat down, I think. Just Barbie and Janet, and there's another empty soup bowl because it just sold out. And it was just a really fun time. So thank you to everyone for helping that be such a good event. All right. And
I would like to say,
yes, Carol.
Tina made the best bread.
Tina made the best bread. Okay, the award for the best bread. Thank you for that, Tina. All right, so let's enter into a more extended period of awareness of this present moment. We have an intellectual understanding that love is all around us. There is no rule that says you cannot feel the love that's in this present moment. In fact, we encourage you to feel the love. Nothing you've done, nothing that's been done to you, nothing you've said, nothing you've thought, nothing you've felt can separate you from this love which is here in the present moment. Looking at the world through the unity lens, we see love as the underlying reality. Every moment of our experience in this world, in fact, consciousness itself is an expression of this love. And so we practice now becoming aware that we are conscious. Noticing that we can be aware, that we can focus our awareness. And we can focus our awareness on this present moment. Jesus, the Jewish mystic, said that it's right here. It's among you. It's in your midst. It's at hand. And it is within. And so whether we're aware of the present moment and the externals, or if we go within to explore this present moment inside ourselves, it is all one. It is all part of the unified fabric of this amazing world. It is all a part of love. You might notice how it feels to take this truth in. We are always connected to love. Nothing can separate us from love. And so we practice the awareness of this truth. I invite you to fill your heart with this experience. Love is one of those strange things. The more you take, the more there is. It's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. There is plenty to go around. And it's from this place of love that we lift up ourselves, inviting ourselves to be more patient, more kind to ourselves. And it's from this place that we lift up our neighbors, the strangers we meet, those people who might have hurt us, those people who we've hurt. We lift up anyone, anywhere, in any need or trouble. Knowing that the same love that we're experiencing in this present moment is possible in all places, in all times, to all people, with no exceptions. And that the awareness of this love is possible in every moment, to every person, regardless of circumstance. And for this, We are grateful. Amen.
Every Sunday, we share the daily word with you. And I'd just like to recommend that you subscribe to the daily word, have it sent to your house, either in the mail or online. I've found that this year's messages are so helpful to me. Today's message is on healing. My faith is making me well. Unity co-founder Merle Fillmore's healing journey began when she changed her mind. Inspired by the words of a healing practitioner, she took this affirmation to heart. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. After 2 years of persistent health affirming meditation, prayer, and practice, Myrtle was healed. Her faith made her well. Myrtle lived joyously and vigorously for many years. I take inspiration from this story. I too am a living expression of God. I feel my body's quickening response as I claim my inheritance of divine life. Vibrantly active in every cell of my body. Good nutrition, exercise, and rest support my healing practice. My faith is making me well. And from Mark chapter 5, verse 34, he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your disease."
Susan Werner is one of the finest singer-songwriters on the scene today, and this is one of her finest songs. The message of it is a little bit difficult, especially if you're going through tough times, but all spiritual and religious traditions are about, in my view, waking up to our life right now, right here. And this song is all about that. It's called May I Suggest. May I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining, almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you'll begin to see the thousand reasons that are just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you Why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a word that's been addressed to you, intended only for your eyes. It's a secret world, like a treasure chest to you. Private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize. A lover's tender smile, tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. And I suggest, yes, I suggest to you, oh, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed in you. It's the hope of 7 generations, maybe more. And this is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before. And inside you understand. Inside you know what's yours to finally set right. And I suggest, yes, I suggest to you, I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the west to you. Comes from the west, comes from the slowly setting sun. With a request to you, to see how very short the endless days will run. And when for one more hour of life. And I suggest, yes, I suggest to you, I suggest this is the best part of your life.
Well, thank you so much, Doug. That was a beautiful song. Doug shared with me a little joke before the service. I've got half my talk over here. That the music group U2 decided to hire a PR firm to help manage their advertising. They got the bill from the PR firm, and they didn't charge them anything. And the PR president wrote on it that they did it pro bono. Or was it pro bono? I'm not quite sure which. At any rate, please put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. This is my heart. Through it, I am connected. to my neighbor, to my source, and to myself. I'm learning to trust it in all things, and I am grateful. Well, we've got the month of love here, and we have these amazing teachings from the Jewish mystic Jesus of Nazareth. And I just want to go through several of these teachings because they are a challenge to us. Starting with love your neighbor as yourself. I was all about loving my neighbor. I thought that was okay, but when I was young, I didn't get what it meant to love yourself because I had been taught you're not supposed to be selfish. I was, of course, but I was taught that I wasn't supposed to be, and so that was pretty confusing. And if you have a similar experience of that, I would encourage some mirror work, right? In terms of loving yourself, just look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eye and say to yourself directly into the mirror, I love myself. And see if you have any inner objections that come up. So this is a challenging one right off the bat. Love your neighbor and love yourself, or love your neighbor as you love yourself. You may remember the parable that's connected to this because right away someone asks Jesus, well, who is my neighbor? And how does Jesus respond? It's one of the parables, one of the stories. Does anyone remember? Who is my neighbor? Fantastic. Our biblical literacy is right where I was hoping it would be. So, all right. So is the Good Samaritan story, right? The person, and Jesus, of course, picks the person who is reviled at the time by his listeners, the last person who they would think would be doing good stuff would be a Samaritan. The Samaritans believed that God's mountain was far away from Jerusalem. The Jews believed it was in Jerusalem. And so there was this tribal kind of wrestling between these two groups. They didn't talk to each other. They didn't like each other, basically. And so when Jesus tells this story about a Samaritan who acts in a more loving way than the Pharisee or the religious, the holy men of the Jewish tradition, this is a challenging parable for those at the time. This would be like saying, pick your group, pick the group that your tribe doesn't like. Pam, who would it be? Who's the Kansas City? A Kansas City football player is walking by, and it's the Kansas City, all the Eagles guys don't help the person, but the Kansas City coach or whoever is in that tribe that you don't like is the one who winds up being helpful. And that's Jesus' answer, that your neighbor is everyone. But more than this, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus takes it a step beyond, because he says, it's okay to love the people that love you. Of course, you love the people in your family, and you're friendly to your friends, and you love your friends, and you love people who love you. But if you want to take it the step further, love your enemies, right? Go a step further and don't wish bad on them. In fact, wish good for them. Be friendly to them. And this, I think, is something, I don't think it's brand new, but it's something, because certainly we have this in the metta prayer in the Buddhist tradition, that we include everyone in the circle of our compassion or our practice of love. But at the time, when your country is being occupied by a foreign army, and the soldiers of that army can kill you at any moment because you have no rights, it's a pretty surprising thing to say that you should even love the occupiers of your country. In the New Testament, as it's come down to us from Jesus spoke Aramaic, he was illiterate. The first writings of the New Testament, the letters of Paul, and the writings of the New Testament that happened several hundred years after Jesus, the writings of Paul around 60 years after, and more and more of them getting written down. The stories are oral stories, but they're getting written down, and they're often getting written down in Greek. And so the Greek have different words for this idea of love, and some of you may remember these 4 kinds of love. The city of Philadelphia is named after one of them, the city of brotherly love. Philios is a form of love. It's loving your siblings. It's loving your family. It's the kind of love Jesus says. We all have that, hopefully. If we had a friendly family life, then we all have philios. We have natural love. We love those who love us. Another kind of love is koinonia, which is community love. Koina, community, come from the same root word. So it's the love for your tribe, love for your group, love for the group of people that you're with. We all came from tribal. We have tribalism in us. That was how we survived in hunter-gatherer groups. And we were suspicious of other tribes. We were cautious because they might hurt us. And certainly the tribe of Israel, as it invaded and moved into different lands, they hurt other folks and they got hurt by folks. And so it goes on in human history. The third kind of love is eros. I was taught in middle school and that meant sex, right? But actually we could think of it as possessive love or romantic love, the kind of love that wants to possess, that wants just this person, the kind of love that feels jealous or hurt if somebody's getting more attention than I'm getting from that person that I want to be getting all the attention of. It's that part that just wants all of that person for myself. And then the highest form of love, which was known as agape love. Agape love is sacrificial love. It's wanting the best for the other person rather than wanting the best for myself and using this other person for my own betterment. Agape love is wanting the best for the other person, even at my own expense. So we have this amazing teaching of Jesus that we find in other traditions as well. No greater love has a man or a woman than that they give their life for another person. That is sacrificial love. And we find this throughout human history, just like we find possessive, jealous love. We also find these examples of people rushing into burning buildings at their own expense, people jumping into the water and saving other people, even though they themselves might drown, or perhaps sometimes certainly everybody drowns. But it's that willingness to, and it's usually spontaneous. It's like, I didn't really think about it. I just did it. I just acted. Somebody said, tomorrow you're going to run into a burning building. You're going to say, no, I'm not, right? But then you see your dog in the house, and the house is burning. You're going to run into that burning building. There was a very interesting, I thought it was interesting, research study about 10 years ago on human perception of pain. And what they did was they took a bowl of ice cold water, a bowl of water with ice in it. So it was like really cold, like 33 degrees. And they had people put your hand in that bowl of water and see how long you could keep your hand there. And most people were like a minute or 2 minutes, because it starts to really get painful when your hand is in that cold water like that. And then they said to people, so then they came back, so they recorded everybody's time. They said, come back the next day, once your hand is recovered, and we're going to do it again. You put the same hand in the water, but just before you put your hand in the water, they say, Now imagine someone you love has fallen through the ice, and you are going to reach in to save them. And people were able to tolerate the pain 2 and 3 times more when they had a purpose of love in their thoughts, in their minds, just in their imagination, than they were able to tolerate it when they said, let's just put your hand in and we'll time you. So Jesus is continuously inviting us in our personal development and, in fact, in human development to move from tribal love to a more universal love, to find in our hearts the willingness to love the stranger and even to love the enemy, however we define that. We notice that Jesus doesn't say, don't have enemies anymore. Right? The idea isn't don't have enemies. He says, you're going to have enemies. You're going to have people that hurt you. You're going to have people that you hurt. You're going to have people you don't sync with. And at the same time, we're going to find within us something that is going to want the best for them. I'm reminded of, I think it was a 2020 news show of a mother and a teenage boy who were going around the state. I forget what state it was. It might have been Indiana, giving presentations to high schools about drinking and driving and the dangers of drinking and driving. And so they were talking about this, and the thing that made the experience of their presentation amazing, Tenna, you know what this is, right? Is that the teenage boy killed the mother's son because he was drinking and driving. And she visited him in the jail, and they got to know each other, and he came from a very difficult home, and she loved her son, and he was her only child. And they formed this relationship, and 2 years later, they toured the state talking about the dangers of drinking and driving from their personal experience. Isn't that amazing? To be able to have to open your heart, both of them, for him to be willing to let go of the wall of guilt that sometimes keeps us from having an open heart. Because I feel so badly about what I did, but he opened his heart to be able to do this amazing thing, and she just absolutely amazing. And then we go to Paul's letter to the Corinthians. This is where the famous 1 Corinthians 13 chapter comes from. So Paul has established these different churches throughout Greece, and one of them is in the town of Corinth. And the people in Corinth are having amazing experiences of, we would call it the Holy Spirit, or if you're an Assemblies of God person, they're getting slayed in the Spirit. It's like the televangelist preachers. They're dancing, they're jumping up, they're speaking in tongues, and they're being filled with the Spirit. And this happened in Greek religions from time to time. The Dionysian religions, it usually involved alcohol, which is why we sometimes call alcohol spirits, because it gave people spirits, but they would have ecstatic, which means standing outside of themselves, experiences. And so Paul hears that the people in the church in Corinth are having these experiences, which is perfectly fine, speaking in tongues, all of this. But what he hears that disturbs him is that the people who are speaking in tongues feel like they're a little bit better than the people who aren't speaking in tongues, right? And doesn't this happen in every group, right? There's always a way that when groups of humans get together, we start kind of judging and evaluating whose soup was best, right? For years, I didn't want to bring my soup because I felt like, well, what if nobody likes my soup, and that's my feelings are gonna be hurt, and then I'm gonna feel bad for the rest of the week, like I was protecting my depression, like I didn't want to. Thank God, you guys just loved me out of that, right? So now, yeah, it doesn't matter. Right? Some people really like this kind of soup, and other people really like this kind of soup, and other people don't like soup at all. So it's like, yeah, if you walk by my soup, it's okay. I don't have to feel like you hate me, right? Oh, I'm not eating his soup, right? That's Guy's soup. So this happens in all different ways, and this was happening in Corinth, and it had to do with these spiritual gifts. And so the first couple chapters of this letter to the people in Corinth, the Corinthians, is about spiritual gifts. And we have that metaphor of, doesn't the hand need the foot, and doesn't everything need the head? And, we all have a different role to play here. The body every part of the body has a different role to play, but we work together for the good of the whole. And so he's making this argument, and this chapter 13, is the culmination of this argument, where he just kind of lays it out. And he says, okay, you guys, all of that's great, but here's what's really going on. And this is why he says at the beginning, and you'll all recognize this, you've heard this hundreds of times, if I speak in the tongues of men and angels, but do not have love, I am a resounding gong and a clanging cymbal. That's why he's talking about speaking in the tongues of men and angels, because he just spent the last 6 chapters kind of talking about this. But then he points out, yeah, that's great that you can do it, but you're no more special than anybody else. Right? The first are last, the last are first. If I have the gift of prophecy, which some of them had, and I can fathom all mysteries and knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all my possessions to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. He doesn't seem to talk much about the people in Corinth giving away everything they had. It was more like they were lording it over people. St. Francis was somebody who gave away everything he had. His father was a clothier in Italy. His father was a tailor, not a tailor, highbrow tailor. And St. Francis was a dandy. He was a playboy. He liked dressing up in these clothes. And when he had this experience of renewal of his mind through this experience of love, he would go out in the day and he would give away his clothes. And he would come back wearing like nothing. And these were like really expensive clothes, and his family would really get really, really mad at him. But not even that is a sign that we could boast by. If I do not have love, I gain nothing. Now, here's the one that we all know. Love is patient, love is kind. Has anyone here, besides me, ever been impatient? A couple people, 3 people raised let the record show 3 people raised their hand. Everybody else laughed at us. Okay, no, everybody, right. Has anybody here ever been kind? Right, everybody here. Why? Because we still have tribalism in us, right? These aren't commandments. These are aspirational. These are what we aspire to. He's defining what love is so that we can aspire to act like this in our higher mind when we let go of our lower concerns. Love is patient. Love is kind. Now, for those of us in the room, which looks like everybody and probably on the Zoom call too, if you've been impatient, if you've ever been unkind, are you now tempted to be impatient and unkind to yourself? Right? To feel, oh yeah, I really let Jesus down that day when I got impatient. No, it's okay, right? Can we have patience towards ourselves about moments when we've been impatient? Can we have kindness towards ourselves about those moments that we carry in our conscience when we've been unkind? It's aspirational. This is what we aspire to in the spiritual life. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. Humans envy, right? But when I'm in a loving place, I can be happy for everyone. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. Humans are self-seeking. We're all self-seeking. But when we aspire to connect with that light within us, we find that we are not self-seeking. We are not easily angered. We do not keep records of wrongs. Anyone here in the room ever been married? Anyone in the room ever keep records of wrongs? Right? It's just, guess what? Newsflash, we're all human. This is what humans do. Humans keep records of right and wrong. And so we aspire to let go of those records, to burn those. I guess you could burn them in the burning roll, to let go of that so that we can aspire to something higher, not only for ourselves, but also for all of humanity as we're working to let go of this fight or flight amygdala activation that happens so easily within us. Love always protects. It always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Has anyone here ever been hurt by love? Has anyone here ever had the experience that love failed you, or the person who you would put all of your hopes into and you thought, this is the one? What happened to that? It's all human. And then Paul says this amazing thing. Where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. We all die. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For now we know in part. Right now we only see a little bit of the whole, but then we shall see the whole. The parts disappear. I've told you that story about how in Islam, the idea is when you die, you get to stand in front of this huge wall, and on this wall is everything is written that's ever happened. And the reason it's a wall instead of a book is because when it's a wall, you can see how everything's connected because there aren't any pages that are hidden from you. But you only get that after you die, right? Adam and Eve only eat a bite of the apple of the tree of knowledge. They don't eat the whole apple. If they ate the whole apple, then we would know everything, right? But now we know in part. Later on, we'll see how everything is connected. Now we trust that it's connected. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, I reasoned like a child. I reasoned selfishly as a child. I reasoned tribally as a child. As I'm becoming a human, as I'm becoming an adult, I put the childhood behind me. For now I see only a reflection as in a mirror, but then I shall see face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Now these three remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Isn't that awesome? What a great tradition. What a great tradition that creates ideas and poetry like this. Well, I want to close with my favorite poem by Rumi. Out beyond categories of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sky. If the ushers would come forward, please. You'll find the offering blessing on the inside of your bulletin. And let's repeat that together. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give and all that I receive. I give in love, I trust God, and I am grateful.
There have been some losses, I know, in the Unity family in recent months. There are always losses as we grow older. Many years ago, when I first started playing out in Charleston, I played with Becky Webb. Some of you may know her. She left way too early from ovarian cancer. I wrote this song, "Green, Green Hills of Earth," which I've sung at many a farewell to somebody who has passed. But it's a really, the song is about how people live on in us and through us. In my house, there's a room for you. Sorry. I really don't have COVID. I'm tested. Influenza this winter. There's a joke going around that the flu saw what COVID getting all the attention and said, "Hey, buddy, I'm coming back strong." In the green, green hills of earth, I stand in the way of farewell. I cannot count your worth or the darkness in the well. In the flowers of the field, I hear your laughter still. In the flowers of the field, I hear your laughter still. The candle you revealed burns on my windowsill. In my house, there's a room for you. In my garden, blossoms tall and new. In the air, a scent of irises. In my house, there's a room for you. There's a room for you. There's a room for you. On the green, green hills of earth, you stand and wave farewell. I cannot count your worth or the darkness in the well. There's a Buddha on my lawn, greets those who arrive. Even though you're gone, your gift, it's still alive. In my house, there's a room for you. In my garden, blossoms tall and new. In the air, a scent of irises. In my house, there's a room for There's a room for you. There's a room for you. This is your part. In the green, green hills of earth. In the green, green hills of earth. In the green, green hills of earth. In the green, green. You know what Pete Seeger said about singing harmony? Listen to what your neighbor's singing and sing something else. In the green, green hills of earth. 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 In the green, green hills. In the green, green hills. In the green, green hills of earth.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So at this time, we give thanks for these gifts and offerings. We are grateful for each and every person who shares of their time and their talent and their treasure to keep this place of love alive. We are grateful for messages of love, for music of love. We are grateful to know that we must love ourselves first if we are to love others. And we are grateful for all the good that comes in our lives. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. You know, if you'd like to make a circle, we'll do our peace song. Do we have any birthdays to celebrate? Or anniversaries? Anything anybody wants to celebrate? Oh, Tana's next birthday is next Saturday, so let's sing happy birthday to Tana.
enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.